wanting to get busy with these suited connectors.
Well, he knows better than to re-raise against a player like O'Shea, who's liable to have a big hand.
Oh, this is horrible for O'Shea.
Oh, this is so unfair, because Fraser's not supposed to have proper hands.
700.
And to actually be in front against O'Shea when O'Shea wants to put his chips in the pot, how unlikely is that?
It is possible to pass kings before the flop, but O'Shea, the least experienced player at the table, he may not yet have found that move in his game.
We raised 1500.
Well, to be fair, I don't think that anybody at this table would put this hand down against this man.
Or 1500 more?
No, 1500, yeah.
Well, O'Shea is raising it up to 1500, giving himself room to get away from the hand if he has to. Should Fraser flat call to be sneaky?
Tens are no good here.
Oh, no, this is interesting, Vicky. He's actually trying to talk down the value of his hand by pretending to talk it up.
They look big.
He's trying to tell O'Shea, if you've got something like tens, you should call me because I've got ace-king.
All in, says Fraser. He hopes the speech play will be enough to induce the innocent hedge fund manager into his heffalump trap.
To be fair, I think it's those kings that are going to be enough, Vicky. I mean, who the hell is going to put those down in this situation? Not me.
Well, to his credit, O'Shea's thinking about it. He hasn't called instantly.
It really is to his credit, because despite all Fraser's speech play...
Another 1825.
It's just not enough chips. He's already put in half the chips he'd have to put in to see these aces.
It's a long way to come to play two hands, but I'll call.
Well, this is tragedy for O'Shea. He cannot put down the kings, and just a few hands into his first ever TV appearance, he's cold-decked in this manner.
This is going to leave him very, very low indeed, Vicky.
Of course, if the king comes down, Ian Fraser will be knocked out because he had fewer chips at the start of the hand.
Turn card. 7.
It's looking pretty safe for the aces.
River card. Queen.
So unfortunate for our online qualifier. Down's just a handful of change already.
And I tell you, if anybody knows how to use those chips, it's this man Fraser. He'll be pushing and pushing from now on.
In this series, we'll be looking back at some of the great late-night poker moments of the past. When Phil Hellmuth returned in Series 4 to defend his title, the locals certainly didn't make it easy for him.
Was I supposed to stand up then?
No.
But his real nemesis was a certain Frenchman called Robert Le Dangereux Cohen.
Deux valets.
2 jacks.
Deux jacks.
Jacks full?
2.
Wow. I have king 9 club.
Ça c'est ma femme et ça c'est maman.
Robert said all in. Oh my gosh. He said, I'm not playing this game. He's got the same hand.
Okay.
What a player.
King 10, eh?
Well done, Robert.
Really bad hand, huh? 10-3 raised me with. I know you're going to raise with nothing.
Et deux.
3 deuce?
Yes.
3 deuce?
I know you raised me with nothing.
Deux.
Doesn't like it, Phil.
He does not like this at all.
Huh?
Pass.
You pass?
Yes.
Raise with deuce 3, now pass? Now you have chips, you want to slow down, right? I go like this, I'll just go like this. That's okay, I play like that. You tappy, tappy, tappy. You tappy, tappy, tappy.
Yes.
Me.
Fürs Fernsehen.
Oh no, not one out again. Gosh darn, king 9. Yikes, I'm showing too much emotion. Nice hand. I tried to trap you. Not only out again. Okay, I guess, okay. I didn't mean to raise, but I guess I did put the chips in, right? So I guess it counts as a raise. Okay, I meant to call the bet. I would never raise with top pair in this
That's a result. Defending champion Phil Hellmuth will see you in the semi-final. Robert Cohen straight through to the final.
Thank you beaucoup.
Welcome back to the first heat of Party Poker, Late Night Poker. And every so often during this series, we're going to play a hand retro Late Night Poker style, how it was done in the old days, when you don't see all the cards. This hand, we're going to only see it from the point of view of Bo Selstedt.
Raise to 300.
So like Bo, all we know is that he's got ace-jack.
Well, that's all he needs to know at the moment, and that's plenty to raise with.
Pass.
Come on, I'm going to try and skink you.
Ian Fraser's been getting pretty busy so far this match.
Pass.
Well, he's the man with all the chips, and he's been successful once taking on Bo and bluffing him off, so
Pass.
I guess he sees that as a good spot.
27.
Tricky for Bo, because Fraser is the one man at the table who really could be calling with anything at this stage.
Well, Bo's liable to feel that he's almost certainly in front here.
Call.
Quick call by Fraser.
As well.
That's looking a bit like a flush draw, but of course he could be slow playing a big hand, an ace-king.
Well, Selstedt being very cautious here, checking this, because there's a lot of hands where he could have called up something like King-Queen, and that's a very double-edged card for Selstedt there, because he's made two pair, but any 10 makes a straight.
I must tell you that only the other day in a tournament, Ian Fraser flat called me before the flop with an ace-king. I know he can do it. If I'm Selstedt, I'm very tempted to check call here, or even check pass.
Well, what he's doing, and
600.
that's very clever actually, he's made a small bet, smaller than the bet he would have to call if he checked and faced the bet. Big enough to find out where he is. He could get a call from a weaker ace, and very hard for Fraser to actually raise this without a hand which is beating both.
All in, declares Ian Fraser, and of course Selstedt has to face the fact that he'd be losing to any 10. And there's a lot of hands with a 10 in them that people call with.
Well, it's either a 10 or nothing. You know, Fraser's either bluffing a flush draw or he's got the 10, and I think that Bo had to pass that.
Now let's have a look whether it was a bluff. No, look at that. What an enormous flop for Ian Fraser. Middle pin straight flush draw, and he did make the straight on the river.
A pair of queens.
And I think the story of that hand is that Bo played it very well by making that little stop a bit on the river. He made it as cheap for himself as possible.
You must work that hand out.
Yeah, well played, both of them.
If I think someone's going to be playing really tight, I'll not only chase them, if they play a pot with me, I'll make the pot so big they won't want to play it. These people, I can pick up on them after 6 or 7 hands, to be fair. You can just tell by their body language they're not going to be getting involved.
Marina Kremser dealing out the cards. Husband Thomas is the tournament director. Most of the good cards are going to our chirping chip leader, Ian Fraser.
Got a couple of suspects.
Yeah, well, he's going to give them all a terrible time here. He's going to be coming into every pot. Now, how's Bo going to play the queens this time?
He's finding some big hands at this table, Bo Selstedt.
Pass.
And does Fraser want to take him on again? It's the kind of hand he'd do it with.
It is. He'd be in poor shape if he did, and great instincts to duck out of this one.
Pass.
Yeah,
Pass.
good swerve from Fraser. They're passing around to Jen Mason, one of my absolute favourites of the younger players. Oh, but a dangerous spot for Jen.
Well, let's just hope for her sake she doesn't re-raise, and that's very cautious, and her best hope here is to see an overcard. Well,
Check.
Some more outs for Jen Mason there. Jack gives her the straight.
well, Selstedt must know by now that his queens are in front. Surely he's going to bet it on the turn here.
If Jen Mason could find the check raise, that would soon chase him off, but
she's just thinking, Vicky, if I hit my ace, would it be good? Would I get paid if the jack came? And could I bluff the flush if it came? But all that doesn't add up to all that much. Far more ways to lose the pot than to win it, and I think she's done well to keep it cheap.
Pass.
Looks like a plague now.
yeah, she stayed out of trouble there, and probably relief for Bo Selstedt as well, really. Nervous about the overcard on the flop. The two youngsters flirted nicely in that pot, I think.
Yeah, they both kept it nice and cheap, no harm, no foul.
The
first time I got transferred to a TV table was at an EPT event, and I tried my very hardest to get off it again. I asked every producer and person with a mic to move me because I felt very uncomfortable. But after that, you just have to ignore it, and now it's quite easy to ignore. I mean, despite the fact that you're showing your cards to everybody and you're aware that somewhere someone is commenting possibly negatively on everything you're doing, you just have to ignore it.